Joining us here from Las Vegas, Nevada, a man who's calling a huge football game tonight and many of them over the next several weeks, both college and pro. Our buddy Chris Fowler back here on the program. How you doing, Chris?
Great, Rich. Viva Las Vegas.
Yeah, huh? Yeah.
If I were to stand up, if I were to do this.
Okay, let's see. Hold on a minute. What do we got?
Wow.
See the sphere. I didn't want to mess the shot up. Is it okay to leave it? Because Octung Baby is being performed there tonight. U2 is playing opposite our game, Rich. It's what are the odds? I can't do both. You know.
That's amazing.
That sphere. What I mean, that is amazing. I've never seen it. That is it as advertised? How impressive it is to see it, man?
Because it's bright sunlight. You can still see this crazy LED. Someday I'm going to get inside there. With the Super Bowl's out here,
yeah,
I'm going to try to wrangle a U2 ticket in and around that. That'll be easy, right? Yeah. And just try to catch them then. But it's exciting. The town is buzzing. It's good.
Well, let's get into tonight's game, Chris. And again, as you know, me being a National Football League guy, things like favorites and underdogs, those terms confuse me. But it does appear that the folks in that town behind you think Oregon is going to win this football game by a wide margin. What's the scoop with that?
Very few precedents for an undefeated team playing for a conference championship and a playoff bid being this big an underdog. The only parallel has been Notre Dame played Clemson, and Clemson didn't have Lawrence in the first game, and they lost at Notre Dame. The rematch, Trevor came back. They're a big favorite. Notre Dame lost and still made the playoff. But this is so unusual to have a Washington team that has run the gauntlet in the Pac-12, one of the deepest years ever in this league, and is a 9.5-point dog. It shows you how much they respect the dominance of Oregon down the stretch, because they've been handling business, and the Huskies have been kind of scraping by, being clutch in the moment, but not dominant. That's why the number's so big.
It's okay, so that's why that's the way that's working. But it does appear that Oregon has played some of the best football in college over the last month and a half, 2 months. To what do you ascribe that, Chris?
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple of things. One, they've done an amazing job getting this team physically ready. We had our meetings yesterday. And you know how everything is analyzed and all the data points are put together for how fast a guy runs in practice, how high he jumps, what he's doing in the weight room. It's normal to have teams wear down in the regular season. 13 games in, it's very, very difficult to have guys running faster now than they have, lifting more now than they were. And that's where Oregon is. Somehow they've stayed really fresh, energized. I sense they do have a little more juice, a little more fuel in the tank than Washington does. Both of them have played 8 straight weeks since that first meeting in Seattle, which was one of my favorite games of the season. And since then, it's been a grind. No virtual buys, no off weeks to play an FCS team. It's been Pac-12 competition, high-stress games every week, and somehow Oregon has come out of this thing looking really bouncy and ready to go. And they've got Bo Nix, and they've got a very balanced team. I think they feel like, talking about Sundays, they were better at the line of scrimmage than Washington. That's what they think. They thought they were in the first game and lost despite that. They think that it'll be the difference in round 2.
Well, I assume you're going to see Bo Nix in Manhattan next weekend, right? And so how do you does tonight have a large role in whether he picks up the trophy that night, do you think?
Yeah, but Jaden Daniels of LSU doesn't have the opportunity to make a closing statement. They got 3 losses, but that doesn't mean he can't win it.
Right.
Lamar Jackson, RG3, Tebow, Caleb, guys have won this trophy with multiple losses. And as great as his year was, Daniel's going to be in New York. I think the winner of this game tonight becomes the main challenger for him. If Nix goes out and lights it up in his 60th start as a college football player.
Wow.
Then I think he will be the favorite. They keep odds on it. The odds have been screwy with this trophy all year. They wildly fluctuate. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. I don't know who bets on the Heisman, but people do evidently. And they've got Nix as the favorite, but not a huge favorite. And he wouldn't be the favorite if they lost the game. So it depends on what happens on the field.
Apparently, I have a degenerate in the studio who just reacted to that. So do you bet on the Heisman, Chris?
Yeah, everyone bets on the Heisman.
Ask him when he bets. Like,
go for it. He can hear you. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, you just kind of bet throughout the year. You're basically looking for odds. You're looking for the best value.
I know how it works.
I know, but you're looking for value throughout the year. So after Oregon loses to Washington, you're like, they're still good. I'm still going to bet Bo Nix because he's 10-1, and now he's the favorite.
Did you get him at 10-1?
Yeah, I don't want to really reveal, but sure.
What do you mean? What is that?
Sure.
I have good value on Bo Nix. I have good value on Bo Nix. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
If you're going to play value, but there's like J.J. McCarthy, no offense, Rich, was like the favorite for a moment there.
Right.
I mean, and then that it radically changed. And,
right.
and I think that, we don't know who. I think Penix and Nix are both deserving of being in New York, along with, of course, Daniels and them. Who's the fourth guy? We don't know. There'll be a fourth finalist. And that's sort of like TBD. Is Carson Beck going to light it up for Georgia? Or is Milroe for Alabama? Or if JJ has a huge game and they stomp Iowa, as I expect they will, does he get there? That's a little bit of intrigue in who the other finalists will be.
And then, as if there's not enough stakes on the line tonight that you referred to, the winner of this moves on, right? The winner of this goes to the college football.
Well, yeah,
playoff?
I think so. I think the committee has weighed in on Oregon, right? They know how much, even though they don't have that mega quality win yet, if they beat Washington, they will. And the committee already loves what they do. So I think they would take Washington's place in the top four. The seeding is really interesting. Like Florida State is trying to get through with a backup quarterback, and even Tate Rodemaker, that backup quarterback, got it hit in the head last week. I guess he's been practicing. I'm not sure about their game for Louisville. A lot of people would like to see FSU lose. I'm going to be honest, with the other contending and just go away. But if they survive and advance, then they're in the conversation too. But how this seeding works is going to be really interesting. The Georgia-Bama game is crucial. Bama, again, has the chance to just wreck everything by beating Georgia and sort of trying to force their way in there. And as an SEC champ, it'd be hard to say no. And then what do you do with Georgia? So it gets very complicated if the Dogs don't win as 5.5-point favorites in Atlanta tomorrow.
Well, what do you do with Texas then, too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Texas beat Alabama. I mean, it's very simple to understand when you talk tie breaks. One team has beaten the other. The one for Alabama is Texas.
But this Texas, I think Texas is a great team, and they're an example of a team that's been pretty dominant down the stretch. They're one loss to Oklahoma on a late touchdown. Otherwise, they're perfect, and they're sitting right there 1-2 somewhere. And I don't think you become a radically better or worse team on the basis of one play. I just don't. I don't think Alabama is a much better team because Milroe throws a 4th and 31 prayer touchdown to survive against Auburn. Okay. They're a more deserving team. They're not a better team because they made one play. And Texas isn't a much worse team because Dylan Gabriel threw a touchdown to beat them in Dallas mid-season. So we need the 12-team playoff this year. We don't have it.
Right.
It's going to be a little bit messy. People are going to be mad and feel excluded. That's going to be part of the process on Sunday when the bids go out.
All right. And then again, as if the stakes aren't any bigger for tonight, this is the last Pac-12 game, Chris. Yeah. You're calling the last Pac-12 football game, Pac-10, whatever the number's been throughout the years. This is it tonight. What are your thoughts on it? I want to give you the floor. Any memories? What comes back to you when you hear this, Chris? What do you got for me?
No, I got a lot of memories. I mean, I've seen so many things in this conference going back to the 80s. And yes, these teams have big futures, right? We're already getting excited about the fact that Michigan's going to visit Washington next year. Oregon's got the same kind of schedule. But there won't be West Coast football in the way that we've known it. And our grandparents knew it since 1915 when the predecessor of the Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12 came to be. And there's no real league at the top level of the sport representing the West Coast. And that sucks. I'm sorry. It's exciting new stuff for all these teams that are splintering off and going other places.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun next year. I think it's a sad ending to a real chapter. And those of us that have loved watching guys like Jim Plunkett and John Elway and Aaron Rodgers and on play in this conference. It's been a great year, and it's a shame and ironic that it's going out in what's been one of the best years for this conference. I think that will be, aside from documenting the game and all the stuff you talked about, that'll be in the air tonight. There'll be a nostalgic sense in the building that this is it. You know, when we're not going to see a power league on the West Coast ever again.
Do you got one a Pac-12 game? Your favorite one you ever called? Pac-10? Anything? What do you got for me?
I think, honestly, to be honest with you, the first Oregon-Washington game this year is one of the greatest games I've ever called. I mean,
how about that?
There's been so many other ones. I mean, powerful memories on the field with Aaron Rodgers having 4 shots first and goal to beat Pete Carroll when USC was number 1.
Yeah.
It was a top 10 game. He marched him down the field. It was going to be an amazing Rodgers comeback. Pete calls timeout on defense, and they go incomplete sack, incomplete, and keep Rodgers out of the end zone. Not easy to do in the red zone, right? As we found out through the years.
Yeah, right.
That game, that was just the Coliseum at its best. It wasn't a game that is going to leap to a lot of people's minds, unless you're a fan of SC probably. But that moment, just seeing that play out in the Coliseum, I'll never forget that. And there's been so many others, too, over the years.
And so walk me through your schedule over the next month and a half, because you got Monday Night Football in a couple weeks too, right? I mean, what do you got?
It's fun,
what's your deal?
We jumped the plane after the game in Vegas. We head to Atlanta. Kirk and the game day guys set up the day in Atlanta. I think the winning coach and quarterback is going to jump on the plane with us to be in the show. So they'll be in a celebratory mood. It'll be a nice plane ride on a nice plane. And then I'll just get to watch Bama, Georgia ringside on the field with Tebow and all these other people who are down there. Yeah. It's such a massive event. I get to scout for the playoff. We talk about the bids on Sunday. Next week's Heisman week, and I got a Dolphins Titans game in Miami at Hard Rock, a home game for me.
Yep.
On December 12 or 11, excuse me. So that's what's ahead. It's all good stuff.
Okay, so if you're just going to be on the sidelines for Georgia and Alabama, if I gave you a phone, could you take some footage of the sidelines for me, just in case Michigan plays one of those two teams, Chris? Would you mind, or is it too soon?
Yeah,
is it too soon?
What could possibly go wrong with that plan? I mean, no one will ever know or find out, right?
Yeah, just I don't know if it's too soon, or
well, what about tonight? Because why don't?
That's true. Well, I mean, you're busy, Chris. I don't want to intrude.
I'm busy, but to call somebody in Vegas, because I think if Michigan wins and Oregon wins, or Washington, I think they're playing in the Rose Bowl. That's the semifinal game.
And are you calling that one? Do you know if you're calling that one?
We'll be in Pasadena. I think very clearly. If Georgia wins, top seed New Orleans, Michigan wins, 2 seed Pasadena, I think the Pac-12 champion will be the 3rd seed regardless. And if it's FSU or somebody else, they're going to New Orleans. That's completely unofficial.
Of course.
But I wouldn't bet against it.
Well, I know, because, I mean, those are traditional. Certainly with tradition is being upended completely forevermore. Let's do an old school Rose Bowl, right? Big Ten, Pac-12, cool. Pac-10. Yep. And then, Georgia versus Florida State sounds like, Bobby Bowden should be on the sideline for that one in New Orleans. You know what I mean? Like that sounds like it's some old school stuff. And then you got the national championship game, and then you're off to the Australian Open, right? That's what you got? Fantastic.
Life is good, man. Life is good.
This is great. Awesome, Chris. Well, do you want to give me your best guess what you think the Final Four is going to be come Sunday? What do you got for me?
Well, I'm not going to predict the outcome of this game tonight,
right.
But I do think the
Pac-12, whoever that is, right, is in.
I'm going to pick Michigan. I mean, I think Georgia beats Bama. I think they're just better. I mean, weird stuff can happen there, but I think that I don't know about FSU and Louisville. I mean, that's a tough one. And I don't know whether Florida State's a lock if they win either. I mean, that's not what Seminole fans want to hear. 13-0 ACC champion fighting through what they fought through. Any other year, it's a lock. But if you've got Texas lurking out there, if you've got other teams in the conversation, I mean, Ohio State fans think they're a better football team than Florida State. The committee doesn't have them ranked that way right now, and how you jump them if FSU beats Louisville, I don't know. But if they win, to me, history says they should be in.
And that's that. Okay. Yeah. Chris, have a great call tonight. I'll be watching. The whole family will be there.
One more glimpse of the sphere.
Yeah, let's see what we got there. What is on that? What Octoon Baby?
Yeah. Right now they have Octoon Baby.
Okay.
Because that's the tour for you two tonight.
All right, fantastic. There we go. The famous Dolan Sphere of Las Vegas, Nevada. Take care of yourself, Chris. You be well. Have a great call tonight, man.
Thanks, man.
That's my friend Chris Fowler, at Chris Fowler on all the X and all those machines.
CB Fowler on Twitter.
CB Fowler on Twitter. That's right. Okay. at Chris Fowler on Instagram. I love his messages after games, and also he's climbing mountains, walking down, streams and telling you about life. And
I'm sure he worked out for 2 hours this morning. At the
I'm sure he got
gym.
it. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's jacked.
Yeah. If that was me, I'd have been sleeping in just fresh back from the buffet. That's the difference between Chris and
Fowler doesn't go to the buffet. No chance.
There's no chance, pal.
He has a big plate of fruit, He's probably got a kettlebell in his room.
I can see He's like getting crab legs for breakfast.
A kettlebell in his room.
You guys are like...
Did he travel with a kettlebell?
I wouldn't surprise. He's still on. By the way, he's still on the Zoom.
Is he still on the
right now? On the Zoom.
Is he still hearing us? Bring him back. He's back.
Bring him back.
You there, Chris? Do you hear what we're saying?
I do hear what you're saying. I never leave a meeting. As long as people are still talking.
Yeah. Am I right? Did you get a workout in today? Did you get a workout
Not yet, but I will. No kettlebell in the room, guys.
That's what I say. He travels with a kettlebell, Hurt Street with a golden retriever.
There's always push-ups. Okay. So.
I knew it. And you still have the bruises from when Herb Street hit you from that Mill Road touchdown? You still have those bruises?
I'm hardened because he's hit me so many times over the years. I don't bruise anymore,
Thanks, Chris. Have a good rest of your day. You be well. There you go. Now we're leaving the meeting. Okay.
Now we're done.
Leave meeting.
Hey, he's out.
You guys.
Yeah, so I can see in the monitor here. He's walking around with his iPad or whatever.
It's his phone, whatever his device is on.
Yeah, with his device. And he's laughing, listening to it. Very funny.
Oh,
there you go.
Funny.
He's got a kettlebell in his room.
You see him up there like
doing the swings. Doing the swings.
So funny.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.